Sandra, what's up?
I was hoping that you could help me with some grief tactics or methods, perhaps. So in 2018, my family had a pretty lousy year. This will be bad for me. Hold on one second.
Hey, you're good. You're good.
So starting with my adult son's heroin overdose.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And then I lost my dad to advanced dementia in May. And then my younger brother in December died suddenly.
Wow.
But I struggle the most with the situation with my son.
Tell me about him.
Well, he's had a difficult life. So as a heroin addict, he would often make bad decisions and spent a lot of time in and out of jail. So my process, I feel like I've been grieving or maybe grieving incorrectly for 12, 15 years at least. So he, it's things like every holiday.
Yeah.
Even while he was alive, of course, it's like, well, he's in jail, so he's not experiencing this. So I just surround myself with guilt.
Yeah. And do you beat yourself up for who he was as a young boy and the situations that happened in his life, and then the missed dinners that turned into the missed holidays that turned into the jail time, which turned into the ultimate price. So first and foremost, I'm heartbroken for you. People aren't supposed to have years like 2018. And I know that's probably insulting to you to hear all the people whining about 2020, myself included, right? And I know for you, you can think, you guys want me to tell you about a bad year, right? That's a lot. You lost what I would be willing to wager is the three of the most important men in your entire life, right?
Yeah.
What did grieving look like with him? What did the funeral look like? What did the circumstances surrounding that look like?
Well, probably the start of a bad process, I would say. As you can imagine, I don't deal with these things very well based on this conversation. But
you're doing great.
Oh, thanks. Well, we did a private service with just the immediate family.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't know friends. I mean, I don't know people. I didn't know people to contact and things like that for him. And then for us, our outside circle of friends and associates and things, I just couldn't do a day of standing.
It was hard you didn't want to answer questions and have to do the reception line and.
Yep, exactly. So it was just immediate family.
So Sandra, this is going to be easier said than done. But you've got to stop judging yourself. You've got to stop being ashamed of the person your son was.
Yeah.
Right? And I know every single mom, the moment they hold that little baby boy, they have, man, I've listened to my wife fast forward, in year one. I hope I like his wife. And I'm just like, what? Right? And I think we're going to have the wedding. And you're like, we got to slow the roll, right? I know that every mom holds that little baby and just a narrative unfolds, right? A story unfolds. And it is really hard when every morning you wake up. Here we are 2 years, 3 years later, and that story's not going to happen, right? It's not going to come true. The more you avoid putting a period at the end of that story, the more you continue to carry those bricks of, I failed as a mom, my son was a failure as a guy. As long as you hold that shame, that identity as a grieving mom, It's going to beat you up spiritually and psychologically. Your health is going to suffer from that. And I want you to know you're worth more than that.
Oh, thank you.
You don't believe that, but I'm telling you, and I want you just to get on YouTube or listen to this podcast over and over and just hit refresh on that. You are worth grieving this. You're worth holding your head high, and you are worth living the rest of the years that you've got left boldly and unapologetically and with the new spirit of meaning about it. Okay?
Thanks. Thank you for saying that.
No, you bet. You bet. And do all of us wish we could take things back as if from our kids' childhood? Yep. Right? And so those things that may have happened that you think through that pop into your head, here's what I want you to do. I want you to consciously, whether you've got to say out loud, and I have to do this to myself sometimes, when that thing, that conversation that you had when you were a kid, or that thing that happened when he was young and you wish you could have done it differently, or your husband said this one thing and I want you just to, if you have to, yell it, but just say, stop. Right? Say it out loud. Nope. Because at this point moving forward, I want you to consider those intrusive thoughts, those shameful moments, those, well, if you'd only thoughts. I want you to say no. I want you to listen to I want you to know those are now decisions from this point forward. And focusing on those won't help your son. Focusing on those won't help heal your heart. They're just going to keep you chained to the shame and chained to the past, right?
Yeah.
So you said something earlier that I really want to lean on, and I want you to listen to me closely, okay?
Okay.
There is no such thing as an incorrect way to grieve something other than not grieving it at all. And this is 3 years, 2.5 years. You're getting up, right? You're about a month and a half away, 2 months away. You're getting up on the third anniversary, and those little anxiety bells are going to start ringing louder and louder. Remember, right? And then you're going to enter what I would probably assume is going to be a dark season when your body remembers 2018, right? One loss after another loss after another loss. There is not an incorrect way to grieve that other than to shove it down and act like it's not happening. Okay? Yeah. So here's a couple of things that I've walked alongside folks that they found helpful in the past, that I've found helpful in the past. Number one, you cannot under any circumstances, Sandra, grieve by yourself. Okay? So this is the time, and I know it's super annoying and hard with COVID, especially in the city like Chicago. You've got to find somebody, a small group, an individual, a counselor, somebody that you can say out loud, I'm not going to be ashamed of my son anymore. I'm going to choose to remember the great, good stuff about him. He probably had a sweet, sweet soul. I'm going to remember the joy and fun that we had when he was younger. I'm just not going to focus on the negative stuff because it doesn't do anybody any good. And I want you to experience that vulnerability and that shame letting. You've got to do that with somebody else. Okay? That's going to be vulnerable moment number one for you. Vulnerable moment number two is I want you to write him a letter that tells him about what in the crap's going on in 2021 and that you miss him like crazy. I want you to write him a second letter, possibly with this person, right? And I want you, maybe you read it to this person if you're super hardcore and vulnerable and tough. I want you to write him a second letter and tell him that you're heartbroken that he left you. Yeah. Okay? Because it's okay to be angry with him. It's okay to be frustrated with him. It's okay to be really, really pissed off at him. And then the third letter, I want you to write him and tell him who you're becoming. But I want you to write it as though you want him to know how proud of you he should be, because you're going to be the mom who now you're going to go take dance lessons once the lockdown is over, and you're going to learn Spanish, and you're going to start delivering Meals on Wheels. You are going to start living this shame-free, this unfettered life that's not going to be a forgetting of him, not going to be forgetting your dad, not going to be forgetting your brother, but it's going to be in celebration of. It's going to be meaning-making of. And when you get a group and you spend some hard minutes writing these letters to them, to your son, and they don't have to be all the same day, especially shouldn't be on the same day. When you do this, what's going to start to happen is you're going to start to smile. You're going to start to heal a little bit. You're going to have good days. You're going to have real bad days. And on the bad days, I want you to go, well, that's my body trying to take care of me again. I want you to smile at those days and then get back under the covers if you need to. And if you got to go to work, you got to get up, then that's when you're going to reach out to your buddies and to your friends because you can't do this alone. And over time, you're going to begin to make meaning here. And what making meaning looks like is different for everybody. It may be you joining a group to go talk to young boys who are getting into drugs. It may be you writing letters to young addicts in jail and letting them know that, hey, their mama loves them and that you will be there when they get out. It may be that you're going to help knit and crochet. I don't know what you do. You may build machine guns there. I don't know what you do, but you're going to be making meaning for the rest of your life.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
But all of this is under one giant shell, which is this. You have to decide, I'm not going to wear the identity. I'm not going to consider myself a failed mom. I'm not going to consider myself somebody who's just grieving for the rest of their life. Is the ache of the loss of your son always going to be there? Dang right it is. He was your baby boy. But that's not going to define you. You're going to have to let that go, and letting that go is going to feel like you're letting him go.
Yeah.
Okay? And you are going to have to have a moment where you let him go. And that's when you get to live in those however few they are or however many they are. That's when you get to live in those joyful moments. So I wouldn't wish 2018 that you experience on anybody, even people I can't stand being around. That's heavy and hard. I'm sorry you experienced that. If you want to be real brave, Sandra, when you get a chance, when you write one of those letters, I'd love for you to call it in and read it out on the show. I think that would be healing for millions of people who are experiencing disconnection from their kids, who are heartbroken over, children who've made choices that they don't agree with, that are locking them up, all those struggles. I think that'd be a beautiful, beautiful moment. That's hard, though. That's really hard. You don't have to do that, but man, it would be a blessing. Whew. Thank you so much for that call, Sandra. We love you and we care about you.